me now introduce you to our first speaker of the event, Mr. Brandon Oh, CTO Asia Pacific region from Huawei Enterprise Business Group. He is responsible for solution strategy development for Asia Pacific region. He is also leading Huawei's strategic initiative in Smart Campus, which enables holistic innovations from connectivity, data to platform, and services cloud strategy, supporting different enterprise infrastructure transformation requirements across various industries. He is going to deliver his speech on Unlock Boundless Possibilities with 5G and AI. Over to Brandon.
Okay, very good morning, everyone. Thanks for inviting Huawei to join today's E-INFOTECH event. My name is Brandon. I look after the technology portfolios for Huawei Enterprise across the Asia Pacific region. So let me click on. Okay, so we are now at the year of 2020, starting a new year of a new decade. Let's imagine what the world may look like in 10 years' time, okay, by the year of 2030. Today, both perceptions and interactions between people and things are pretty much based on various physical measures, right? But in the future, and now we see a lot of the new technology, ICT technology, 5G, AI, IoT, and etc. Will help us to build an information flow across all these key elements, right? In which everything, we believe there will be at least the three major key characters there. There's everything will be very sensitive, okay? And everything will be very connected, and everything will be very intelligent, right? So we believe that by the year of 2030, there's a lot of impacts it will bring onto us, right? There'll be at least on the 5 different segments. From the overall the government and the society perspective, we are going to have a much better digital life and a smart city. You're much more into realistic implementations, and the great improvements on the workforces and the efficiencies and so on. They open a much fairer social balance and minimize the gap between the regions, and also better distributions of the resources such as the education, such as healthcare, and other social public resources. With these technologies, we also be in much better position to plan, create, monitor, and control the carbon emissions, and create a better sustainable living environment for us, and also for our younger generations. And finally, also inevitably also impact our cultures. So what I will talk about today is I would like to share with you, in a very high level, why 5G and AI are so significant for all of us, both from a technology perspective and also from a business value perspective. And what is the current progress and how Huawei as a company is positioned in these technologies, and how we position to help our customers and our societies in their digital transformation journey into this interesting, intelligent world of 2030. So let's take a look at our 5G. So unlike 4G and a previous generation of wireless technologies, right, which is primarily focused on improving the network speed, right? 5G is actually doing very different. It's actually started from the native architecture design. It's designed for the future massive machine type of connections, and also for the industrial use requirements, including the ultra low latencies on requirements, and of course on the ultra high speed that will be very fundamentally required that in the next generation of communication technologies. So we're opening actually a lot of new current, the explorations into actually practical use case, right? Such as autonomous driving. If you look at what we're doing today over the 4G with a 50 milliseconds of latencies, actually we can only doing some conceptual design, right? But if you put it on over the 5G with a latency that look at 3 milliseconds, then this is actually getting a much more practical use case in these network kind of situations. It also allows the other use cases such as the precise industrial automation, which is also requires very low latencies, but also somehow requires a private kind of wireless network over a wider range of areas, which is cannot be very well supported by the other solutions like Wi-Fi and so on. It will be much more easily to be able to be supported over a 5G kind of infrastructure with a very high speed in the same time. And other use cases like for the energy industries, you have the smart grid where the sensors can be deployed in the massive areas with all kind of a different kind of throughputs, and the recurrence of data can be supported over a 5G environment. So this is actually so this is not just about the a general the broadband kind of evolution. 5G is actually fundamentally changing the way that the industrial connections is likely to happen, and also because of the features, including the massive type of connections, which is actually allows the real, actually practical deployments could be supported in a wireless environment. On the other hand, is that the 5G is going to reshape the architecture of a typical enterprise, network could look like, right? So today we have traditionally the Ethernet-based, the kind of all Wi-Fi, which has been in place for quite a few years, and with 5G in place, these two technology is starting to merge together. It's actually, if you look at the today's Wi-Fi, and there's a lot of the technology convergence already happening. The Wi-Fi is learning a lot of the new technology from the 5G and so on. So we'll see that this technology happening, and also the 5G reshape the architecture in that enterprise is likely put in place for the next generation digital transformation. So today, there's a lot of enterprises has started to explore different use cases. If we just roughly categorize these use cases and measure them according to the time to market, which we put it in the horizontal way, and also the dependence on the maturity of the connections, which we put it from low to high on the vertical axis, we can high levelly put them into two phases, right? So the first phase, which has started in as early 2018, and some of the companies already start to use test some of the ideas to see how they can make use of the technologies and so on. And we call it atomic exploration. There's a lot of kind of ideas already doing, such as the 5G live broadcast, such as some kind of the video surveillance using 5G as a backhaul for the campus and so on. So, but these are very preliminary still, right? So starting from year 2020, we are seeing an acceleration of use cases that are being deployed. There's a lot of new things coming up, particularly in the recent, we see the COVID-19 somehow reshaped a lot of the way that we work. And also we see quite a few, the 5G diagnostic stations has been deployed in these mobile cabin hospitals to help the doctors in other areas where you have a limited resources these experts can be used that so they can centralize these expertise and use these 5G the diagnostic stations to help the mobile cabin the workers and the healthcare to better support the patients over there. So there's a lot of things happening, and we see this is going to continue to grow. However, again, these cases are pretty much still rely on basically make use of the high bandwidth that 5G is able to provide. So what are we going to see is going to fundamentally change or massively change the whole the use cases in the 5G environment is most likely we see going to happen next year, where the release 16 3GP 5G standards release 16 and 17 finalized, and then we see more use cases to address the issues on the ultra low latency requirements, and also the massive machine type of communications, which is very much suitable for the Internet of Things deployments. These use cases will start to boom from the year after. So if these are basically, we'll see that these will be the two major phases, but even at this current stage, there's a lot of use cases, and we see already been deployed, introduced, and are all starting to change people's lives. So with all these connections, 5G and so on, and AI, interestingly, that this is actually at the very edge of another innovation explosion. So, well, we all know that's actually three key factors in AI, right? So whether do you have enough data for training and reference? Do you have good enough algorithms to process these data? And do you have sufficient computing power? So these are the three key factors in the AI whole history is actually creating the two different waves of AI major changes. So if you look at today and what is going to happen in 5 years' time, we'll see over at least 4 times of data traffic and volume growth, right? From today's 44 zettabytes of data to 180 zettabytes. If you prefer to calculate them into terabytes, that's 180 zettabytes is roughly at the 80 billions of terabytes. If you put it in that way, there's a huge amount of data. And also we'll see a tremendous growth on the connections from today's 34 billions of connections to 150 billions of intelligent connected devices that will be put in place, right? So, and a lot of these connections are built on the smart devices, including the intelligent terminals and also the edge computing, the gateways and so on. So these amount of data are simply beyond the human capacity of processing, and also cannot be processed in a normal manner. So we forecast over 80% of data traffic or business logics will be handled by AI in the data center and so on by year 2025. And from today's only less than 10% of the workloads actually somehow be introduced by or handled by the AI US assistant, right? So, so this is a major change we're going to see as well on the next couple of 5 years on AI side. From Huawei perspective, that we believe AI is really a new general purpose technology, right? It is as important as internet itself that has changed us in the last 30 years. And AI will bring us another major wave of changes. And if you look at the AI productivity curve, we are actually at a very early stage in the phase 1. We're still just partially exploring the capabilities of AI and start to utilize it. What are we likely going to see? Very likely going to see is that when the technology move along, there will be more collisions between the technology developments and versus the social environment. Right, it will change our life. It will change the way we work. It will change the business models and so on. It will, as the internet itself has changed us in the last 30 years, if you can recall the whole history. Right, and this is a tremendous market in front of us. And if we simply put a forecast number, by year 2025, we believe there's a huge market is 7.4 trillions of US dollars of market that we can tag on. We talk about the changes. That the very first change this AI technology can bring onto us is really change the way we work. Right? There will be from today's a typical 4 layers of expertise, the people profiles in the organization, from the junior employees, managers, senior managers, and leaders, and into a very different way of handling, in which a majority of the daily routine work will be handled by machines. But it also creates a huge demand on the data and the scientists. Right, there will be a lot of work that is based on the algorithms, based on the business logics, based on the data that we have collected, the understanding the data, utilizing the data. So this has been creating a huge demand of the job creation, and the skills that are needed for the data and the algorithm, the mathematics related to kind of processing. There are a lot of decisions that we are making today based on the seeing on practical involvement, the physical interactions. We are very much based on the data analysts that we are telling and the business process that it be built on. So this is a very big change that we see that in every single organization. And today, if you look at the overall markets, that we are significantly short of such kind of capabilities, right? If we simply just look at the global AI experts, it's just barely above 30,000 of them. And big majority of these 30,000 experts are just in a few large companies and also in some of the major institutions, right? So this is a huge gap that we've seen on the AI part. And today also the penetration of AI, as I mentioned, is we are actually still at the early stage. It's the early exploration. There's a very low percentage of penetration so far. It's barely just at 4%. And if you look at the supply chain from from the whole resources, like all kind of profiles needed versus these industries, which is pretty much starting from the OTT and the finance industries and so on. And if you look at the ones that are from the other industries, there's a significant gap of these capabilities and the expertise required. So this is we see this is a part of that all the companies, all the whole industries need to address on, and also of course the educations and so on need to fill the gap to boost the whole industry. So what is Huawei's view on that is we believe 5G and AI are the cornerstones and that are of the whole intelligent world, right? So basically, this is we see this is considered as these technology are built a kind of fertile soils, allow all these different technologies, different innovations will be able to be built on. And 5G is more like the trunk of the trees, which is deeply rooted into these competence, this AI, cloud, and all these expertise and the computing resources and so on. And to connect all kind of the branches, and which is more the all kind of industrial innovation, right? So that's allows these nutritions be delivered to these branches, to these industries in a very, very efficient ways. And so these whole world, you'll be able to, create a lot of the new innovations, turning these innovation into flowers and into real fruits and benefits the whole society. So, so this is the view that Huawei sees, that we're going to have all these new ICT technologies, which enable the whole the digital transformation in the intelligent world. So what is Huawei's general strategy on this? As a leader on 5G and the whole ecosystem, we believe that the whole the technology is not just about the technology itself. It's about the whole innovation. It's about the whole ecosystem, the whole society. Huawei as a leader on this market, we very much committed to work with the whole society to not just to bring the best chipsets and terminals and so on, the latest the core microwave and also radio technologies, but also more importantly to connect these other digital technologies, including cloud, AI, big data, and so on, to enable all the different innovations across all the industries. So this is something that we believe that is very much critical to have individual, the solutions, but it's more creating the whole environment itself. And also on an AI side, right? So Huawei as a company, we tried to accelerate the whole adoption of the AIs and also minimize lower the entry barriers for these new technologies. So last year we actually launched the two major AI chipsets, the MPUs. One is the Ascend 310. It's very much designed for the devices, for the edge, the computing, the gateways, and so on. And also a Ascend 910, which is very much designed for training in the large, capacity kind of systems and so on. So these chipsets, these computing modules and data center training systems and so on, is able to help our industries, no matter where they are doing the finance or they are doing the individual consumer devices, they are able to utilize these MPUs very efficiently. And more importantly, we also introduced the whole framework, which is the whole stack, the AI, the framework allows the industry to be able to utilize these chipsets. We call it chipset enablement, and also integrate with all kind of innovations across industries from different other vendors or providers like a TensorFlow, PyTorch, and so on. Integrate all these things all together, and create these applications, create these, train your algorithms, train your ideas, your innovations, and publish these innovations, bring them into the markets, to the consumers, and so on. So these are the ones we try to help the whole industry to be able to quickly address the requirements and minimize the barriers that are that's actually preventing us to do a better job on that one. So by doing that, we work very closely with universities, and we have now already launched with over 30 plus universities on the AI courses, and help them to polish their courses and be more practical on the ones that are where they need a certain kind of a training and practical the utilization of certain modules and ideas and so on. And we also worked with globally have over 30,000 developers currently utilizing our framework and our systems to develop the solutions. There's over 100 plus independent software vendors have been certified. There's over 30 plus intelligent transformation kind of solutions has been introduced to different industries. So this is a strong commitment that we bring to the market, and we work with the business partners and our whole ecosystems to build the whole push forward the AI innovation. So I would like just to conclude my presentation with Huawei's mission, which is to bring digital to every person, every home and organization for a fully connected and intelligent world. This is our mission. This is what we're going to continue to do. Thank you very much.